So, we have Night is Coming, and this has just recently released into early access on Steam. And this one is a city builder, resource managing. They've also said it's a survival strategy game. They put RTS, RPG, all that sort of stuff in the tags on Steam. And this game, you basically start off with just a bunch of settlers, and they are standing around a spirit altar. And what you have to do is build up your settlement to survive blood moons. These blood moons are going to come in every 4 days, and what that is your base is going to be attacked. But every time a new blood moon hits, the attacks get stronger and stronger and stronger. So you have to build up your army and you need to defend your base. So you'll start this one off with simple harvesting. You're going to get berries, logs, you're going to get stones, straw, so on and so forth. And then you'll start placing down buildings. You're going to have to put down tents for your settlers, because when it hits nighttime, they will go to sleep and they will not work through the night. And then as you're producing more buildings, you'll get things like the Sage Workshop, which is going to let you research new technology. You'll get a barracks. You will eventually be able to get like carpenters' buildings and things like that. You'll also get like taverns and your typical stuff you see in a base builder, like a city builder. And I like what they've done with this one in terms of gathering the resources. I've noticed that more and more games do it like this now, where you have a brush sort of tool and you can just click and hold your left mouse button and drag it in an area, but this one separates everything as well. So you click on the gathering, then say you pick plants, it's going to highlight all the plants in the area that you can see, and then you can use plus and minus on your keyboard to expand or sort of like decrease the size of your brush tool, and then you can just brush around the area so that your settlers go and gather those resources. And I really like what they've done with the warehouse, where you store all of your resources. Not only can you build, it's essentially just a few planks of wood, but not only can you build loads and loads next to each other, you can also attach buildings to the side of your warehouses, so they will use your resources straight from the warehouse instead of your settlers having to transport them. So you can make the warehouses as big as you want, and not only that, you've got filtering options so that you can say, like for an example, you've set up a 10 sort of size, like you've basically built up 10 warehouses next to each other. That's the size of your main warehouse. That's going to hold all of your building materials. Then for an example, you're building a tavern, and next to that you've got a 4-block warehouse, like a 4-size warehouse, and that is going to house all of your food. That's just an example of what you can do. So you can do the filters so that one's bringing in, like one's only housing the building materials and one's only doing food, just as an example. And through the research tree, you'll get a bunch of stuff. You'll get spells, you'll get different building types, you've got farms, and you've got hunters' huts, and like there's a lot of stuff to do through the research, but you can upgrade your buildings as well. And when it comes to your settlers, you have a priority system, so you can increase or decrease the priority, and you can set it for all the different categories of tasks. And you've got auto or manual mode. If you set it to manual mode, you can choose which tasks certain settlers are going to prioritize, because some of them might get tired faster gathering materials. Some of them might absolutely love construction. So you can do it all manually, or you can just set it to auto. And your settlers are going to get tired just in general. They're going to get fed up, and they're going to become exhausted. So what you can do is you can make them go all out, and you can push them to exhaustion. You can just leave it on default mode, or you can put them in rest mode, so they drop all of their active tasks and they just go and rest. So you can build a thing like a fair, which is going to have like benches and stuff. It's going to have a campfire, and all of your settlers just sit there, they socialize whilst they're in rest mode. And if you give them like a couple of hours of rest every day, they're going to work faster and faster when they go back to work. So there's some in-depth systems with the settlers and things like that. And you're going to go through building up your settlement. There are layers in this game, so as well as the blood moon for the main attacks, you're going to have something called Forest Vengeance. And the forest is going to basically get annoyed the more you do. So the more gathering and building you're doing, the more this vengeance meter's building up. And when it reaches 100, there is a chance for these like forest creatures to come and attack you. And they can come and attack you from multiple multiple lairs. However, if you go and find the lair, destroy it, they can't come and attack you anymore. So there's multiple sources of combat in this game. And not only that, there are random events that are going to happen. You'll see it in this gameplay. I had no idea how to deal with these at first. But there's one that happened to me in this gameplay called Nightmare Day. I think that's what it's called. And basically, these enemies called Ash Hags are going to come to your settlement, and they are going to drain the energy of your settlers. They're going to just be a nuisance. So what you can do is with your warriors, you can get them to pray, and after they've completed their prayer, they're then going to be able to attack the Ash Hags, because they're like a spirit. And what happened in this gameplay was the Forest Vengeance kicked in, so I had enemies after me already, but the Ash Hags also got annoyed, and this run was cut short because the Ash Hags and these little forest fiends killed every single one of my warriors and every single one of my settlers. So I had no one living there. But once you've built up the Sage's Workshop and stuff, you're going to eventually, like periodically, have new wanderers come to your settlement and ask if they can move in. That's how you expand in this game. And you start off incredibly small. I'm talking you're going to get like 5 or 6 settlers and 1 warrior to begin the game with. And there are multiple different difficulties. You've got, I think it's Dawn, Sunset, and Twilight. So with this game, the gameplay cycle's good. However, I think it's a little bit unfair. You start off with an incredibly small amount of, like, basically people to live at your settlement. Your warriors are never going to sleep, but you're only going to start the game with 1. So that kind of forces you in one direction and one direction only. You kind of have to rush to get a barracks built so that you can train more warriors to defend your settlement. Because remember, every blood moon, the attacks get stronger and stronger, and there's only 4 days in between each one. So that leaves a lot of problems because you're not getting these warriors out of thin air. Your settlers turn into warriors, and it's irreversible. So if you've got 5 settlers, you've got 1 warrior, but you want 3 warriors in total, not only are you going to have to go through the research tree in the Sage's Workshop to increase your army size, because not only do you only start with 1 warrior, but your army size starts at the cap of 2. So you need to expand your army size capacity, and then you need to spend quite a big portion of your settlers to train them to be warriors, just to defend your settlement, because you are attacked quite often. And it makes it incredibly tough, even on Sunset, the middle difficulty, and it's a lot harder on Twilight. But that's the good thing about this game being early access. If the developers are to listen, a lot of people have pointed the same thing out. You have to, you currently have to prioritize an army early in the game, and that lowers the amount of harvesting and building and stuff you can do. So the expansion of your base is very slow. The blood moons are going to come in. The Forest Vengeance is going to happen. These random events are going to happen, and it's going to make it difficult for you to build up your settlement and thrive in the expansion of your base. So to answer the question, is it worth buying Night is Coming? I'm going to say yes. But I'm also going to say, like, it's a very tough one because the gameplay itself is good. It's early access, so the devs still have time and stuff to work on the game. Like, they're still in active development, but it is quite expensive as well. This game's going to set you back £21. It's currently got a 15% launch discount that ends on the 21st of April. So it's currently costing £18, a little over $20 for this one. And while it is good, there are improvements that need to be made to the game, which will obviously, hopefully they're done throughout early access. So it leaves you in the pickle of, I'm going to say it's a little bit too expensive for the current state of early access. But they've also said there may be price increases based on the added content and future development. They've said they're planning to add even more content based on what the community wants, so I don't think they have many ideas for new bits of content to come into the game, or from their own vision. They want to get the community involved and go with how the community want to expand the game. So I'm going to say yes because the gameplay is good. I didn't personally come across really any issues in the game. But besides the fact that you start off with a really small amount of settlers and warriors and things like that, that just essentially increases the difficulty. And besides that, it's a minor problem. I didn't come across any bugs, game-breaking bugs or anything like that. The performance is all smooth. The combat's okay. The base building's good. but I would say it's a little bit expensive for what it is. However, if you wait to buy this one, it's just going to have its price increased as they add more content and stuff. So if you're interested in this sort of a game, I'm going to say the game is decent. So my recommendation would be to buy it right now, just so that you can get the cheaper price with the launch discount and everything like that. But yeah, like this isn't necessarily a game I would go out of my way to go and purchase straight away, unless you're really into it and you want it on the cheaper end. It's a really, really tough one. I hope you guys understand my recommendation for this one. But overall, yes, this is a decent game. What they've put together so far is okay. You're going to have fun with it. It's got some very in-depth features. I love the harvesting and the gathering and stuff. I love the way they've done the warehouses, the way your buildings can be upgraded. You can put walls all around your base and everything, like you can in a typical city builder. So yeah, that is my recommendation, my opinion, and my thoughts on Night is Coming. And what we are going to do is leave that video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about this game in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it.